Hello and welcome back to another episode of my plants. In this episode, we are going to talk about pests. But before we do, what are pests? Let's Google and see. According to Google, a pest is a destructive insect or other animal that attacks crops, food, livestock, etc. That's a bit simplified description. What I will say is a pest is the result of a destruction or imbalance of an ecosystem. As humans, we are really good at affecting the natural flow of ecosystems, and when we do that, we are left with insects or animals that have no natural predators. So they multiply uncontrollably. So actually pests are kind of our fault. So how does this relate to houseplants? Well, indoors in your house, you have the same thing. You have an ecosystem, but you don't have any natural predators. So what we have to do is we have to manage them. We don't need to get rid of them completely because they are coexisting with us. So today I will talk about the two main pests that you will see in your house. Firstly, aphids. Aphids are one of the most common pests worldwide, and you will see them as little green insects on your plants. So I'll use this plant as an example because it's full of aphids. You can even see, you can even see this one is changing its skin. But generally, I will leave some of the aphids because they're just being themselves, just living. So what I'll do is I'll just remove some of them by just wiping them off, just to maintain the balance in our ecosystem. How do you manage them? They're very easy to get rid of, so you can literally take them off with your fingers or a brush. You can just brush them off of your plants. Next we have the fungus gnats. These guys are little tiny flies you see flying around, and when they do multiply, they get really annoying. There are a few different things you can do to manage this. Firstly, watering. When you're watering your plant, because they live at the top layer and they require moisture, if you water your plant from below, that will prevent it from getting the top part wet, and that will decrease their population drastically. So that's the main thing that I did to keep the population down this year. Secondly, covering your soil. If you can't water from below, like my peppers for example, what you can do is cover the top layer of soil with leaves or grass or anything to prevent it being moist, and then they can't live there because it's too dry on top. Thirdly, you can plant plants with strong smells. So things like ginger, garlic, basil, mint. These plants has a very strong scent which the fungus gnats do not like. The most important thing is to try to prevent the population from expanding, because they only live for about 3 weeks, but as long as you start to see them multiply, it's probably too late. The last way is using something like neem oil to spray the plants. I don't like to use this technique because the neem oil may be so strong that it burns the plants, so I just spray the top layer of soil when I see them start to multiply. I always use this as a last resort because this way you're actually killing the insects and you're not just managing their population. If we want to really coexist with nature, the best way is to try and create this ecosystem that is in balance. So that concludes today's episode. Next week, I'll be back in the garden to show you the progress with my greenhouse. Thanks for tuning in, and leave a comment below on how you manage your pests.